He was elected by Somalia's interim parliament in 2004 on a pledge to bring reconciliation to a lawless country. 4 years later, President Abdullahi Yuusuf still has a mountain to climb. The country remains, in part, without effective government. Clan rivalries are still fierce, and the government faces an Islamist insurgency, despite pushing back the Islamic courts movement in late 2006. To top it all, food riots have plagued the country recently, and bad news came in the form of Somali pirates who hijacked a French luxury yacht and took the crew hostage for a week. Well, France 24 is very pleased to welcome President Yuusuf as he visits France. The piracy crisis has loomed large in his meetings with President Nicolas Sarkozy and Foreign Minister Bernard Kouchner. Mr. President, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you.
What was the result of your meetings with top French officials?
Well, I met yesterday we had meetings with the President of the French Republic, Nicolas Sarkozy, and the French Foreign Minister Bernard Kouchner. And I had a very good meeting with them and informed them of the situation in Somalia, the fact that it needs assistance to secure peace and improve the piracy situation, which really does disrupt international trade and sees innocent people taken hostage, and that the war in Somalia is not the same as when our government was formed, because previously there was a civil war, and we asked the French authorities how France could indeed assist Somalia. And terrorists and pirates are the same, and we must fight them together.
Foreign Minister Kouchner says, for now, there is no question of putting French troops on the ground in Somalia. Could you imagine in the future French troops actually being deployed on Somalian territory?
Well, we have asked for a UN peacekeeping force, and if French troops were to come as part of the UN force, we would agree and welcome it. But we must fight together against terrorists and the pirates. And we would like France to help us to fight the terrorists and curb this scourge which is spreading across our coasts. And we are indeed pleased to have worked and cooperated with France.
Would you agree to an international naval force going into Somali's territorial waters? And if so, would that not undermine Somali sovereignty?
No, what is in Somali's interest is what comes after requests, is not a foreign intervention. We have asked France to come and patrol our coasts up until such time as the Somali government can patrol its own coasts, and we ask France to help us in training our coast guards.
One group that opposes your government based in Eritrea says that there is no international legal mandate for the captured pirates to be tried in France. You, however, fully support these pirates. You support the idea that these pirates should be sent before a French court.
Well, the people you mentioned in Asmara are not currently people who are in favor of Somalia's interests, and they're not at all representative. And they are taking advantage of insecurity and national disorder. This group of people wants law and order not to return to Somalia.
Okay, let's move on to some other issues. What can you do in the face of protests in Somalia against rising food prices?
waxay la tahay inaad la socoto adduunka oo dhami in dhibaato ka haysato.
Well, it is true that there have been a number of riots, there's a crisis, rampant inflation, and across Africa there are demonstrations, and our government is doing everything in its power to curb inflation. And current inflation is global. And in Somalia in particular, what has amplified the crisis is really the presence of a lot of counterfeit currency coming from abroad. And the government will look into this in order to deal with this counterfeit currency.
But printing real money surely that doesn't solve the question of a rising price that's a global phenomenon.
Inflation
is widespread, but the Somali people are not aware of the fact that inflation is on a global level. And here we share that with the rest of the world. But we are doing everything in our power to curb this.
Ask you about the Islamist insurgency. Some analysts say that the killing of a senior leader of Al-Shabaab has created an anti-American backlash. Are you worried about that?
Well, I was not in the country when this operation took place, but I received all the information regarding that operation, and my government and the majority of Somali people want to fight terrorism. And we, of course, want to fight against people who sow disorder in the country. And this, I believe, all Somalis agree with it.
So you believe that the protest that followed the killing of Aden Hashi Ero was not representative?
Well,
those who demonstrated against the killing of Mr. Aden Hashi are in a very small minority. The Somali people don't agree with the acts of Mr. Iro.
The authorities have broached what used to be a taboo subject, dealing with the Taliban. Is there any chance that are there any Islamist groups in Somalia that you could work with?
We are prepared to talk with whomever seek peace. And for people, whether Islamist or going by any other name, to form a democratic government and promote law and order. But those who don't want to, well, that's another problem.
Do you believe that Somalia is a sphere of influence for Al-Qaeda in Africa?
Somalia, as you know, is located in a very strategic place. It has a coastline on the Indian Ocean and the Red Sea and links the Arab world to Africa. Somalia is next to a great number of Muslim countries, and many al-Qaeda people have been in Somalia for a long time, and those who are currently waging war in Somalia are receiving the support and orders from al-Qaeda leaders.
We're running out of time, so I'd like to ask one final question. We have less than a minute left. You were elected by an interim parliament. Is that enough to have legitimacy?
Yes, the provisional government as well as the National Assembly have legitimacy, and we work to the end of our mandate, and then there will be free and independent elections.
Thank you very much for being on the France 24 interview.
Thank you very much.